Hello, just wanted to a really brief video about some of the conversational points in the discussion board. On page 14, the addiction chart, this always brings us a really good conversation in class about the concept of addiction. One thing I want folks to remember is that drug use exists in a spectrum of misuse, abuse, and addiction. When someone exists in misuse or abuse, that means they can stop anytime they want. There might be a few negative consequences, but the actual use of the drug is still pleasurable, it's still enjoyable, and there's not many negative consequences happening. The person's brain chemistry and their body has not changed. You have not built up a significant tolerance. Once the person goes through misuse and abuse, some people cross this invisible line. About 30% of clients cross this invisible line of addiction. This is when the full-blown disease occurs. And choice goes out the window. The choice to use no longer exists. The brain chemistry of the person changes. Their body changes. How they see the world changes. How they solve problems changes. What's important to them changes. Thus, the choice no longer exists. That's where this disease model comes into play, saying the client is responsible for the choices they make, but not for the choice to use. The new normal becomes using the drug. They are still responsible for the choices they make when they are high and when they're sober, but their brain starts believing they have to have the drug. Life changes. I really want to talk about these things in detail. For those of you who can attend the meeting next Friday online, we can talk about this and have a real conversation. We mentioned spirituality issues. We'll talk about this in detail in future chapters. What we need to know at this point, though, is spirituality does not equal religion. It can equal religion, but it's not the same thing. Just because, on a different topic, just because you're no longer using substances, no longer drinking, and you're an addict, doesn't mean that everything's okay. Remember, true addiction changes how we see the world. And just because we're not using anymore doesn't mean our brain and thought processes change. It's the same. The thinking process is the same. And we have to help individuals who are suffering from addiction not only find abstinence from the drugs, but repair the damage that's been done to their thinking process and how they deal with life and how they live life. Why is this a family disease? Because the entire family is impacted. Suppose you have a husband who is the father of 2 teenage daughters, who is a severe alcoholic, has been for years. That entire family is impacted by that. They're impacted by the disease. They're not drinking, no, but they have changed how they live life to cope with the addiction of the father. And sometimes family members can take the same symptoms and deal with life the same ways as the addicted individual, even though they're not using. We're talking about this as a family disease model in depth as